Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me with today's episode of Art with Miss Myra. I am so happy that you are all here, and we have a really fun project to do today. So today is Friday, March 27th, 2020, and for those of you that have been participating in the virtual Spirit Week with me this last week, and I've had so much fun doing that. It's been really fun. Today is wear your school shirt day, and so this kind of created a dilemma for me today. I have had about 4 different wardrobe changes today. The first sweatshirt that I had on this morning and stuff was for the Montpelier archery team, and that is a team that my son Travis has participated in, and I am so very proud of those kids. That is a school that is south of Jamestown, North Dakota, and I'm so very proud of those kids, and I'm very, very proud of my son Travis. He has gone to state with that archery team for the last couple of years, and so I had that shirt on, and then I had my Jamestown Blue Jays shirt on because I love my Blue Jays, and then I had a Grant County shirt on, and a Grant County Coyote shirt on, and then the shirt that I actually decided to wear today for filming is my Flasher Bulldog shirt. And this is, I'm going to give a shout out to the kids locally here and stuff. This is a team that is about 15 miles from here. We have kids from Carson who participate in sports teams there. A big shout out to the alt girls. Boy, I am so impressed with you. They create phenomenal athletes out of that school, and I'm just so impressed with the quality of the athletes that are produced there. And so, but I'm just, big shout out to all of the schools. I want you all to show your school spirit today, and I'll be wearing your school shirt. And I think this has been just a phenomenal thing to participate in. So today's project that we are going to be doing is we are going to be doing spool loom knitting, and we're going to be doing this on these are the supplies that you're going to need for today. You're going to need an empty toilet paper roll. You're going to need popsicle sticks. You're going to need some kind of glue, and you're either going to need Elmer's glue and tape to hold this on, because we want to make these spool looms and we want to go right away, right? So if you don't have hot glue, that's okay, and you can do this with hot glue too. And then the looms are something that you can use right away, or you can do these with the Elmer school glue, and then you can tape that on there and you can still do that. But some of the things that we can make with these spool looms, and I don't know, when I was a kid growing up and stuff, we had little spool they look like, and so it was just, and except it was something that my mom bought probably at the store, and it had like little hooks on the top and stuff. This is just a homemade version of that and stuff. So this is kind of what we're going to be making, okay? But some of the projects that you can make and complete with this is you can, put 2 things together, and then, put a pipe cleaner in here and stuff, and do some little decorative beads. You can make little magnets. This is something that I would be making and using and stuff on my fridge. You can make little bracelets. If you are at home with siblings, you could have a competition today, and you can make a couple of these little spool looms, and you can see who can do the longest the fastest, or if you're at home by yourself, if you're an only child, or maybe you're just doing this by yourself, you could time yourself and see how long you can get your strand here and stuff, how long your knitting can be in 15 minutes or something like that. But just have fun with this. This is something that you guys can have fun with. So, but I'm going to start out today, and I'm going to show you how we are going to make the loom that we're going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to move the camera down so you can see my workspace, and then we're going to get started. Okay, all right. So Here is my toilet paper roll, and what I have done on all of my popsicle sticks, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have numbered them 1 through 4, and you need 4 of them to do this project, okay? So I just numbered them for you guys. This is you know, to do the ease of teaching for you guys, but you know, to get started, it's just a nice idea to have them numbered, okay? And so what we're going to do when we start gluing these on, we want to have about an inch, you know, glue them on and then have about an inch sticking up, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my school glue, my Elmer's school glue, and I'm going to, and tape, because like I said, I want to use this spool right away, right? So I'm going to do glue on 1, and then I'm going to take the 3 and I'm going to glue directly across on the other side, so it's going to be just like this, okay? Do you see that? 1 and 3 are going to be directly across from one another. And we want to make sure and have it even, so we want to have them directly across from one another, 1 and 3, both about an inch up, you know, sticking out about an inch. And then we're going to do 2 and 4 the same way. So 2, so across from the 1, where my 1 is, okay, like right here, because we're putting them on all equal sides. We're gonna do 2, and then directly across from the 2, we're gonna do 4. Oops. Okay, so when it's done, it's going to look like this. You know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I want it to look like. I want it to be up. And now if I was going to use this right away, like I said, I would take my masking tape and I would just go ahead and tape around this a little bit. But I already have one that I've made earlier, and I made this with hot glue. And so I am ready to go, okay? So what we're going to do is, the first thing with this is we are going to take our yarn, and you can have any yarn. You can even have, like I said yesterday, you can even have t-shirt yarn that you have made when you have cut strips, 1-inch wide strips, and then pulled to stretch it out and make t-shirt yarn. You can even use that, okay? So don't think that you have to use yarn. You can use your t-shirt yarn and still get the same effect, okay? And so what I'm going to do to start this out, and then it also helps to have a scissors and stuff too for today's project, okay? So what I'm gonna do to start this out is I need to create a slip knot. And a slip knot is something that is very easy to create, but it's something that confuses some people, okay? So you can see here that I'm sitting at a table and I have my working yarn here, that is my ball of yarn, and I have a tail over here. So this is called the working yarn and this is the tail, all right? And so what I'm gonna need to do to create a slip knot is this. I'm going to take the tail end of my yarn, okay, and I'm just going to put it over my working yarn and twist, and then I'm going to have a little loop right here, okay, and then I remember from last week when we did our weaving project, I have my ducky fingers, my index finger and my thumb. I'm going to put them together and I'm going to put them in that little loop that I just created. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to grab my working yarn, and then I'm just going to pull up, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab, I'm sorry, I grabbed the tail. I did not grab the working yarn. I grabbed the tail. I'm going to reach over here and grab on my working yarn and pull down, and then I have created a knot that is adjustable, okay? So I'm going to do that one more time for you guys, okay? I have my working yarn here. I have my tail here. I'm going to take my working yarn. I'm going to make a little loop over I'm going to take my tail, make the loop over the working yarn, and then I'm going to take my ducky fingers here. I'm going to put it in that loop. I'm going to reach down here. I'm going to grab the tail, and then I'm going to come back here with my other fingers, and I'm going to pull down, and then I'm going to have a slip knot, which is an adjustable knot, okay? And that is what I want. All right, so then what I do is I'm going to put that on our peg number 1, and I will feed the tail of the yarn down the middle of the tube, okay? So did everyone see that? I just put that on loop number 1, or peg number 1. I put the loop of the slip knot on peg 1, and then I fed my tail down here, okay? So now I'm ready to start weaving or knitting on this loom, okay? So I have number 1. So I'm going to start wrapping around each one of these pegs, and I'm going to wrap counterclockwise, okay? And so I'm going to, from peg 1, I'm going to come over here to peg 2, and I'm going to go behind it, okay? I'm going to go behind it just like this, and then I'm going to wrap it, and then I'm going to come up to peg number 3, and I'm going to go on the opposite side of where I just came from. See, I came from this side on peg number 2, and I'm going to go over here to the opposite side of peg number 3, and then I'm going to wrap it counterclockwise, and then I'm going to do the same here on peg number 4, okay? And then I'm going to do this one more time, kind of in slower motion so you guys can see it really well. So from peg 1, I'm going to come up to peg 2 and go on the opposite side of where I'm coming from, okay? And then I'm going to wrap, go up to peg 3, and then wrap, go to the opposite side of where I'm coming from on peg 4, and wrap, and then I'm back to peg 1. And now all I want to do on peg 1 is I want to just continue my wrapping that I've already done for the first row of wraps, okay? So I'm going to wrap around, go to the opposite side of where I came from, and then go up to, from peg 1 up to peg 2, go to the opposite, go from the back to the front, wrap from the back to the front, on peg 3, wrap to the back to the front on peg 4, and then when I get to my second wrap on peg 4, I'm just going to hold that down with my fingers so it doesn't go anyplace, okay? And I'm just going to tension it like this, okay? And now we have something that looks like this. On the inside of our little spool loom, we have something that looks like this, okay? And so we have 2 wraps on each one of our pegs. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start knitting, and I'm going to just take my finger and I'm going to grab that bottom one of my yarns, and I'm going to carefully, without lifting over the second one, I'm going to lift just that first one over the second one. So my bottom is going to go over my top, okay? And I'm just going to continue going all the way around. So my bottom is coming up over my top, and then I have completed my first row. And then what I do is, kids, this little tail that we have down here that goes in the middle, I'm just going to give that a gentle little tug because I want that to stay taut, okay? And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start wrapping for my next round. And remember, I'm going to go to the opposite side from where I've come from. So we're going to go, from back to front, wrap, back to front, wrap, back to front, wrap, back to front, and we're just going to go around like that. So we're going to end up with 2 loops on our pegs again, okay? And then we're going to just lift from the bottom and go over that top. We don't want both of them to come off. We just want one. We just want our bottom one to come over our top. So we're going to just carefully lift the bottom to the top over the second loop, which now becomes our first loop. And then we have created the next row, or the, that next row, yes. And then we're going to pull down here gently and make it sure that it's taut. And this is what it looks like on the inside. And you can see that we've kind of started. It's kind of starting to look like something, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap the next row for the next row, and then I'm going to just hold that tight, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab my loops, grab the bottom one, lift over the top, and that's all I'm going to do. And then I'm going to just tug a little bit. I'm going to wrap, and you will be surprised when you get this technique down. You will start going really fast, and it's just a fun thing to do, fun activity to do. You can sit at the and do this while you're watching a movie, or you can sit at the table and do it. Or you can take it outside. You can even take it outside. I had a little boy that took my class here a couple of years ago. He was a fourth grader at the time, and his mom said that he would actually take it out on their picnic table and work on it on their picnic table. And he was making like huge, big, long tubes of this. I think he had like 36 feet on one of them or something. It was funny. She said he had them all over his room. So, but it's just a cool little thing. It's, like I said, I learned how to do this probably when I was a third or fourth grader, off of a regular spool loom. But, you can make these little looms at home and just do them at home, and it's just a fun thing to have. So, and you can create so many different things, like I said, you can make this little butterfly, and decorate it. I took two of them and smushed them together, and then I put a pipe cleaner on here, and I put some little beads on here. You could have that as a magnet on your fridge. You can do lots of things. You can do little bracelets. Make little bracelets. You can do make snakes. You can make flowers. You can make a lot of make a bookmark with this. It's just whatever you want, whatever you have thought about creatively that of what you could do with this. And how you could utilize, these little tubes that you have knitted, okay? So I'm going to do 2 more rounds, and then I'm going to show you how to finish off, okay? And that's how we're going to take it off of our loom and have it ready to be utilized and maybe made into something else. So I am going to tell you a little bit about myself, if for those of you that don't know me personally and stuff. My name is Myra, and I am a art teacher who lives in southwestern North Dakota. And I have been making and creating things since I was a child. And I have a real passion for anything art related. And my main thing that I work in is fiber. But I do teach other classes. I have been teaching art classes for adults and children since 2006. I teach classes on knitting and spinning and weaving and felting. And those are all fiber related projects. But then I also do classes on pottery, watercolor painting, um, beading, embroidery, boy, you know, just all kinds of different things. Anything craft, arts and craft related, that is what I have a huge passion for, and that is what I love to do, and that is one of the reasons why I have started doing these online classes. Okay, so I'm just, again, so happy that you have joined me for this today. So, all right, that's a little bit more than 2, but that's okay, because look at, I've got my tube. This is my knitted tube that's coming out of our little spool loom that we put together, and now this is what we are creating. So isn't that cool? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you kids how to take and finish this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissor and I'm going to leave kind of a long length, okay? I want at least, you know, 10 to 12 inches, and then I'm just going to cut that off. And, you know, now I have it just so it's like this, okay? And so how I'm going to finish this off is this. And this is something that you need to be a little bit patient with, okay? And so we're going to very, very carefully, see, I have just one loop on all my pegs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come over here to peg 1, and I'm going to very carefully lift that off. Now I don't want to lose that because that is called a live stitch, okay? If I would let this go now and stuff, I could get it back, but you're gonna probably have a little problem getting it back. So we want to be really careful. We want to stick our thumb in it, our index finger in it, and we want to keep it, okay? So now I'm gonna come over here in that tail that I just cut off from our working yarn. I'm going to just from the back to the front, I'm just going to thread that through, okay? And now that is locked in, that is not going anywhere, and I can let that go because it's got that other, it's threaded off, okay? It's bound off. That's what we call it in knitting, it's bound off, okay? So now I'm going to go over here to peg number 2. I'm going to do the same thing. I don't want to let it go. I'm going to go from back to front and thread my, yarn through. 3, the same thing, take it off. We're binding this off, we're threading it off, back to front. And then we're going to do same thing with 4. And then I'm going to pull this out of my loom, and I'm going to just give it a little tug and make sure that it is secure. Awesome. So this can be I would just make this into a bracelet, and it just so happens it's my favorite color, purple, right? So cool. So if you guys have a yarn needle, all right, you can take a yarn needle now and you thread it on one of our ends, because we have both ends here and stuff that need something we need to do something with them, right? And so I'm going to thread my yarn needle, and then I'm just going to come over here and bring one side to the other side, and I'm just going to go through. And I'm just going to go back and forth a couple different times so I can make something that's really secure to make this little bracelet. And kids, you can do this even if you don't have a yarn needle, okay? I'll take this out in a second and I'll show you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and cut that one off. Now I still have this other long tail that I need to do something with. So I'm going to trim it off just a little bit so we have like this. And now what I'm going to do, and this is if you don't have a yarn needle, okay, and a yarn needle is just a regular needle. I don't know if you guys how well you guys can see that, okay? It's a regular needle that has a bigger head to it and stuff. That's the only thing a yarn needle is. So even if mom has just regular, or grandma has regular needles, get out one that has a bigger head to it that you wouldn't have problems threading yarn in, and then you can use that one, okay? So, but if I don't have a yarn needle and I still want to thread this, make this a little bit more secure for my little bracelet, I'm going to do it like this, okay? I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to hold my yarn in one hand, and then I'm just going to go over here with my other hand, and I'm going to find a little spot, find a little hole in the knitting that I can just weave that in, okay? So I did it just like that, and now we're going to go to the other side again, and we're going to do this probably about three times. So we're just going to go back and forth, and you can just kind of feel in there, and you can kind of feel where it wants to go. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to cut that off, and my little bracelet is ready to wear. But there are so many things that you can do with this project. Like I said, you can, make these little bracelets, or like, make the little butterfly, or you can make little flowers, or, it's whatever you want to create with this, or it doesn't have to be. Maybe you want to make a long scarf, you could take this and just use all your favorite colors and make a really long scarf. There's a lot of little things that you can do with this. So I hope that you had fun with today's project. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I love seeing and getting all of the pictures from you kids, and from some of you adults too that have finished projects that you've learned about here on my lessons. I will see you all next week. I will be posting tomorrow at 3 o'clock on Saturday, the 28th. I will be posting, making a post about next week's lessons, what supplies you're going to need for next week's lessons. And I'm so happy to announce that next week on Thursday, I'm going to be doing something that is specifically for the teens that I have that are tuning in. Okay, so it's a project that is a little bit harder, a little bit more advanced and stuff, and it's going to be geared specifically for the teens. And I think you guys will absolutely love that project. So again, tomorrow that video will be up, and we'll go from there. And if anybody has any questions over the weekend or would like to talk to me and stuff, just message me on Facebook. All right, so thank you all for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and get out there and enjoy this nice warm weather. It is just awesome out. So thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.